Welcome to Rafa Said It Here, a show about everything and anything that happens in our lives that impacts our mind, body, and spirit. I am so glad that you're joining us today. Welcome to the show. Hey everyone, welcome to Rafa Said It Here. My name is Rafaela Silva, and I'm excited that you're joining me for another episode of my podcast. If this is your first time tuning in and you're listening through Spotify, Apple, or any other podcast platform, make sure that you hit their follow button in their notification system so that you can get notified of the latest episodes. If you're tuning in from YouTube, make sure you also hit the subscribe button so that you can get notified of the latest episode. So we're going to jump right in, you guys. You want to jump right into this conversation. So today we're going to be talking about how to change your reality, or rather how to go from one reality to another reality. And what I mean by that is, how do we change the circumstances of our lives? How do we go from what we are to a place where we often dream about or think about, but don't know how to actually arrive at that place? So we're going to be talking about that. And as always, for us to keep within the context, I will be using tarot cards to have this conversation with you guys. Now, these cards that I pulled today was for myself. I woke up with a message in my mind, and I wanted some clarity. And when I first pulled it, I'm like, okay, I understand. But I sat with it for a little bit, and it finally, a more clear message came to me, and I'm glad that I sat with it, because I started to do this video right before I got it, but then it was like, no, you're not going to do it right now. You're going to sit with it a little bit more, because there's more message to come. And I'm glad I did, because there was more, and here's more, and because we have more, I get to share it with you guys. So to give a little bit of context of what this conversation is going to be about. So I woke up this morning with the message, go back to basics, go back to basics. And although I wasn't really quite sure of what all that meant, I knew that I needed to go back to the beginning of something so that I can create whatever it is that I'm wanting for my future. Because I've been in this mode of, okay, what's next? What do I do next? What is it I need to do? And so I pulled the cards with that question, like, what is next? And I did a 3-card pull, which talks about now, past, and future, right? Present, past, and future. And when I did, I got this really amazing message that I sat with it also. And then eventually also was looking at some other things that were kind of like synchronicities with what it is that I pulled today. And that message was not apparently, but it was very clear to me. And as it became clear to me, I said, wow, this could be also a great opportunity to share this message with others as well, so they can also start tackling this in their lives if they find themselves in that space of what's next, right? So the first card that I pulled was the present card, and and then I'll talk about the whole reality thing. But the first card was the present card. And if you guys see, I pulled the 5 of Cups. Okay. So in the 5 of Cups, you have here a guy, a person that is apparently sad because you look around, all his cups are down, and what appears to be wine and water have been spilled. And, if this is your thing, it's it's wasted, it's gone, right? But what he doesn't see in front of him is a river and a city right across. So he's looking down, looking at his loss, as opposed to looking ahead of what a possible new future, right? So we're going to stop right here for just a second. We'll go back to and talk a little bit more about that. I want to show you guys the second card. So this is the card that is present that showed up to me, okay? The second card, which showed my past, you see here, it is the 8 of Wands. And, this guy who's been hurt. He has a bandage, and he's holding on for dear life to that one wand. And he seemed to be, in a way, guarding all the other ones that he has acquired, right? So he's holding on to this thing, damaged, hurt, all beat up, but he's holding on for dear life, okay? So this is representing the past. And we'll go back to that in just a second as well. And the third card that I pulled was the future. And it's one of my favorite cards, you guys. I'm not gonna lie. So the Magician card showed up, and as you can see, the Magician in the Major Arcana represents the beginning of our existence as a personality, okay, on this earth. And we'll talk more about in another video that I'm going to do about this specific card, so you guys can get more details. But I'm going to quickly go over it with you guys. So the Magician card here, if you can see, he's holding a baton. The baton here is the representation of his connection to the astral plane, and then he's pointing down to earth as a symbol as so above, as above, so below. Okay, and what he has with him is a cup. If you can see, here's a cup, and there is a pentacle which represents coin, a sword, and a wand. Okay. And the symbol of infinity that is representing his eternal existence with his eternal existence, our eternal existence, because we're energy, and energy can neither be created or destroyed. So there's this infinite loop, okay? And what this represents is the ability to create something new, the ability to go on in a different route, a different path, okay? And what he has with him her day is the tools that he's necessary, that's going to be required for him to create this new life. Okay, so that was the card that I pulled that represents future. And so as I sat with it, with this whole message, I said to myself, wow, that is right, correct. Like, how I find myself, what I feel, the things that I'm thinking about right now. When I saw these cards, I said, wow, this is a powerful message. So I needed to be with it for a moment to be able to give you guys the full thing. I needed to get the full thing to give you guys the full thing. So, so the first card, where you see the person with the cloak looking sad, not knowing what direction to go, what's next, right? Like, what is next? Now that all my stuff is filled out, everything seems to be gone. Where do I begin? And I think a lot of times we have asked that questions for ourselves, where do we begin? All the stuff that we thought we were creating that was great, all of a sudden it's spilled on the ground. Although we can't, it's gone, like it's spilled on the ground. We can't necessarily pick it up and put it back. But the interesting thing about the card that it showed me was you still have your cups. You still have your cups. You still have the tools to do what it is that you want to do. Okay. So what the president was showing me is, listen, Rafaela, and for you out here, we still have on to the cups. So the cups are not gone. The cups are not wasted. Okay. They're still there. Even though the things that were within those cups are gone, but it's still there. So what the present time is showing, when you stop and think about, what do I still have? What do I still have that I can utilize, that I can take and create something new for myself, right? What is it that I still have? So that's the first thing. We're still going to go back. There's a lot more here, okay? So what it is that I still have. So I want you to take the time to think about that for a moment. Like, what do I still have that I can take and create something new for myself, okay? The second part of this message is all is not lost, okay? All is not lost. There is still a future ahead. Although we can't see it, sometimes we can't see it, because sometimes I can't see it. I'm gonna tell you guys, I'd be like, I can't see anything in front of me. Well, that's probably because where are we looking? Where are we looking that we can't see? Sometimes there is a possibility right in front of us, right? There's a new city, there's a river, there is a possibility standing right in front of us. But the reason why sometimes we can't see it because we're looking in the wrong direction, right? We're looking down, we're looking at our loss, we're looking at our consequences, right? And if we're looking at our consequences, there isn't much that we can build going forward. So what this card is representing is we're looking at our consequences. And if we continue to look at our consequences, guess what? We can't see what's ahead of us. We can't see the opportunities and the possibilities that we can create for ourselves. Okay. So there's got to be a shift here that needs to take place. And we're going to go over that in just a second. All right. So the second card, let's talk about our past. Okay. The things that we're holding on, that we're holding on for dear life. Okay. And protecting by all means necessary. Okay. So what this card represented to me, I often think about the house that I had, and the things that I go through. And sometimes I look at old videos because I missed this and I missed that. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be proud or love the things that we have created for ourselves, right? Or even or feel sad that that we had certain things in life that we wish we still had, right? I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with that. However, that is gone. And this is what the message was saying to me. That is gone. That part of your life is done with. It's finished. What you had to learn, experience, and go through, it's a done thing. And I also want to point out, you guys, it's not just the things that we think we lost. So we lost the things that we thought were great for us. I'm not saying they weren't great for us. They had its purpose at the time that they were there. But I also want to talk about the things that are done and complete, lessons that you have learned, the pains that you have gone through, is all also back there. Okay. And the only way that they become part of our present is because we keep looking at it. We keep revisiting. Now, if you need to revisit that part of your life in order to see how you can transmute that energy to something else, perfect. Okay. But to ruminate on what was, okay, and holding on to that for dear life is not going to get you the future that you want. It's not going to get us to the future that we want. Okay. If we keep holding on to this one thing, and it can also be things that you still think this is what you need to do, and you holding on to that because you think something's going to come of it. Okay. So what this card is saying is, and the past, okay, you're holding on to things, you're holding on to your past, you're holding on to what was, as opposed to looking up and seeing what's ahead of you, seeing what the future holds. You already learned your lessons. You already completed a few things. You don't have to take that pain with you anymore. You don't have to take the depression with you anymore if you already have dealt with some of these things, okay? You don't have to carry this thing into your present time, okay? You can let that go. You can let that go, okay? Now, before we get into the future here, what is required, okay, to go from what is, what was, to what will be, okay? And when I say what will be, I put that in quotes because one of the things that we get to see in these three cards that I pulled is different realities. Okay, remember I mentioned realities in the beginning. These are different realities that you get to go from one place to another. Now, these realities exist. They're already existing. They're already there. They're already in existence. It doesn't exist because we get there. We get there because they already exist. Okay. And the only way for us to go from one place to the other is to change our mindset, to change the way that we think, to begin to transform our belief system. So I believe that is in Hebrew 11:1. Let me just pull it up here really quick, you guys. In Hebrew 11:1, it talks about, I'll pull it real quick. I should have had it with me, but it just came to me. And that's how it goes sometimes. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just impromptu messages. All right, let me see. Let me pull it up here. Hebrews 11:1. All right, so Hebrew 11:1 says this, okay? Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we did not see. I'm going to say that one more time. Faith is confident in what we hope for and assurance about what we did not see. And that is the New International Version. I want to see if I can get another version here. Okay, so I have the New Matthew Bible translation. Says, faith is a sure confidence of things that are hoped for and a certainty of things that are not seen. So anything that's certain, it exists. It's for sure. There's no doubt about it, right? So remember, before we came to this world, the world was already in existence. So by the time we arrived, things were already in place. Things were already in order before our own existence, right? Things were already there. So in the same way, these lives that we're living, what I like to call parallel lives, they all exist, right? Because they are a projection of what we would like to experience. So if right now this is what we're getting to experience because we are what ruminating on, oh, I don't know what's next, what is next, I don't know what to do, my things shall, and this is where we are. So this is the reality that we get to see, right? If we continually back in our past, we keep repeating this reality, right? We keep repeating that same reality. We keep, which means that we go from one place to another. We keep jumping these realities based on where we're stuck on mentally. Okay. So, so how do we go from these realities that we're in right now and go into this one where we get to create a new life? We get to create a new world for ourselves, right? A new relationship, a new career, a new home, whatever that is, right? I think the first thing is to recognize where you are. Okay. That way you can say, okay, this is where I am, but where do I want to go? You have to like, when you lift up your head, you're saying, okay, I think I'm done with this. I'm done with this scenario in my life. Like you have to have there's got to be a death to something, right? You're done with whatever this is in your life. You're done being whichever way. And then you ask yourself, well, how do I get to this other way of being, right? And I think the first thing to do is first we need to create what it is that we want. Okay, we have the tools here. We have the tools that came with us, and we can sit down and write it down. Like, what do I really want? What I really want to see for myself, and being honest. I think that's an important thing. Like, what do I really want? This going forward. I'm done with what this is. I'm done with what it was. How do I jump this reality? How do I change my mindset so that I can get to experience this new reality that already exists? Because if it didn't exist, you wouldn't have thought about it. Okay. So it's already in existence. And the goal is, how do I get to that? How do I jump to that reality? As with anything, something must die. Something must be done with, but done away with. And that could be, those things can be a way of being. I always say, first start with a way of being, how we're dealing with our finances. How are we dealing with our relationships? How are we dealing with our health? Whatever it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you have to do away with, what do you have to leave behind? Like you can't grab these the wine and the water from the ground, but you can't pick up those cups and say, okay, there is a new possibility across from this river. Okay, so according to the possibility that you're creating for yourself, what must go? What must be left behind? Is it the wine? Is it the water? Is it what was, whatever people did to you or didn't do to you or gave to you, didn't give to you? Letting go of those things, right? What is it that you need to let go in order to start creating a different life for yourself? One way that I always recommend is what will be required for us to live this new life? What is required? What is needed as you make a list of things that you want and you say, how do I acquire these things? What is needed first? And that's the first part. The second thing is, what do I believe about myself right now in this very moment? Okay. What am I believing about myself that doesn't coincide with this possibility that I want to create? Okay. What is that? What do I still believe? Is it that I'm not capable? Is it because, is there shame there present? Is there guilt? What is it that you are carrying with you? What you believe about yourself that can stop you from getting to this place? Okay. So whatever that is, you write that down, and then you say, okay, how do I let go of that? Is that true? Is it true that I'm not worthy? Who told you that? I said, who said that? Who said that you cannot create a different life for yourself? Who said that you're too old to create a different life for yourself? Who told you what you know to be true, that you think is true, rather, about yourself? And remember, whatever it is, and if you can get to the bottom of who said it, and even if you don't, okay, the new narrative that you're going to create for yourself, that was once here and it no longer is. From this point forward, I'm going to start saying, I am worthy. I can create a new life for myself. I am capable of doing something different. I am worthy of having a new relationship, even though all the ones that are in the past have been so detrimental, right? But they were also detrimental, but also for a cause, for a purpose. Okay, we'll talk about that in my next video, okay, and what that means. So, start there. Start with identifying what is there in your present space that can stop you from creating this new life or this new possibility for yourself. And when if you're able to identify those things, you begin to say the opposite of that. You begin to verbalize the opposite of that, because everything happens in the word. The word, when you speak things into existence, even though you might not believe it, even though you might not see it tomorrow, your body might not feel it, everything is vibrational. So as you begin to say the things that you want, you begin to create these things that you want every single day. At some point, your subconscious will begin to listen. Okay. Now, I spoke in another podcast that I had about theta, because even though you can do that, I don't know how long that can actually take, depending on what it is that you've been dealing with. But one way to hack it is to begin to go into theta. And theta could come through self-hypnosis, through right before you go to bed, if you're listening to certain words or podcasts or different things that you want to, whatever that is that you want to change into, you begin to listen to that right before you go to sleep. Because right before you when you fall asleep, before you get to REM sleep, which is delta, you go into the theta space. So you begin to listen to things right before you go to bed as well. Okay. So if you listen, I forgot the title of the podcast that I have, you guys, but you're going to see it if you go back, how to changing your mind. I think that's the title of it. But I did a few weeks ago, and you guys will know what that is. So again, you guys, just to do a quick recap, okay? How to change your reality from the present, letting go of the past, and going into your future, okay? How to go from reality to reality. I would like to say for you to go from life to life, death has to be between. So some things about the way that you're showing up in the world, how you're living, has to die, has to go. All right. So that is the message for today. I love you guys. Make sure that you subscribe. You also follow so you can get my latest episodes. If you have any questions or anything, you can send me a DM on Instagram at I am Rafaela Silva or 8U Life School. Until next time, you guys. Bye-bye.